Okay, here we are. Page 15, 16, and 17. And that'll be a wrap. Byron Dunbar sent this in. And I got to say, this is a perfect bookend for, as Carson Grubaugh said about me calling the punk band Getting Back Together that we used in You Don't Know Jack, where he said, referring to me, "You spooky," which I think I will cop to for today's discovery of Stephen King's The Stand, right when I was trying to remember what was that book where The Walking Man definitely reminded me of Jim Shooter and somebody at Marvel. A tale bathed in the blood of a million dead memories. In the hollow heart of the world, where time folds like paper and winds cry names long since unspoken, there was once a city built from memory, not bricks nor stone, only recollection, stacked and twisted into towers of once loved lullabies and shattered promises. The city had no name. It did not need one. Everyone who entered it forgot their own. They said the city was first raised by a forgotten god, Orin the Mnemosyth Smith, who traded his divinity for one final act of creation. A god of memory, with no memory left to give. In the last moment of selfhood, he carved the city from a million dying thoughts, each one a last breath, a farewell kiss, a whispered apology to a child never born, and then he vanished, erased from every history. Even this tale cannot truly remember him. But the city endured. It throbbed with regret. The walls pulsed like scar tissue, bleeding colorless tears. Shadows took the form of lovers lost in war, of children that died before their names could be spoken. You could hear lullabies echo down the alleyways, looping endlessly, broken by screams in languages no longer spoken. Those who wandered there never left. Not truly. They became part of it, statues made from calcified sorrow, flickering lights in windows, shaped like weeping eyes. Their memories fed the city. They were the city. But one did walk its streets with purpose. A woman called Isolde, or perhaps she only believed that was her name. She carried no sword, no torch, only a journal bound in skin, her own, flayed from a past self she no longer remembered. It pulsed with secrets, scribbled in the blood of forgotten birthdays, and erased declarations of love. Her task was not vengeance, it was not salvation, it was exorcism. Isolde sought the heart archive, the city's core, a cathedral of ruin, said to hold the final memory, the first heartbreak of the first soul. Whoever touched it could choose to forget everything, or remember what the gods had buried. Through streets paved in lullabies turned elegy she walked. Through storms of names that sliced like glass she walked. She saw herself in windows, young, old, beloved, betrayed. She tasted memories not her own, a child's laughter drowning in a river, a mother's face burning behind closed eyelids, a song choked out before the war ended it. At last, she reached the archive. It was not a building. It was a wound, vast and gaping, pulsing with a million bleeding dreams. The air there smelled of rusted time, of final pages torn from books. And there Isolde knelt, not to pray, but to bleed. She opened her journal. Page by page, she fed the archive her agony, her confusion, her lives, and the city screamed. It shook with the shuddering terror of remembrance. Towers cracked, streets curled inward. The dead memories fought, clawing from the past to matter again. The sky blackened with forgotten lullabies, turned into war cries. And Isolde, she did not flinch. She whispered her final truth. Let this be the end. Let forgetting be mercy. And with that, the city imploded, collapsing into a single speck of silence. No one remembers it now. Not truly. But sometimes in dreams, people wake up crying for someone they never knew. And somewhere far outside time, a god with no name weeps for a woman he once loved. Or maybe only thought he did. That is the tale, bathed in the blood of a million dead memories, and it will forget itself soon. Okay, well, spoiler alert, page 667 and 668 that I've got done on Strange Death of Alex Raymond, both take place at the theater restaurant Sardi's in New York City in the aftermath of Ham Fisher, the cartoonist on Joe Palooka, killing himself. And a chance encounter between Lee Falk, who wrote The Phantom and Mandrake the Magician, and also he all the money that he made on The Phantom and Mandrake the Magician, which were both enormous worldwide successes, not just in the United States or North America. Probably one of the most translated strips is The Phantom and Mandrake the Magician. So he had pots and pots and pots of money for years and years and years and years, and most of the money he spent in the theater. He produced like 100 plays. He did 2 Mandrake the Magician plays. And Al Capp had just licensed Little Abner to Alan J. Linner, the guy who wrote Camelot and My Fair Lady in 1952. Alan J. Lerner didn't end up doing the Little Abner musical comedy, but he did have the rights at this time. This is like January 1956. Just after, like I say, Ham Fisher has killed himself, and it was like there was this giant feud between Al Capp and Ham Fisher, and I go deep into that, where Ham Fisher's always been portrayed as a bad guy, and I think Al Capp was the bad guy, scamming everybody to make it look like Ham Fisher was causing trouble for Al Capp, and it was Al Capp causing trouble for himself and blaming Ham Fisher. So essentially, Ham Fisher was hounded to a point of suicide. This is linked to Alex Raymond because Alex Raymond was the president of the National Cartoonist Society when all of this was bubbling along, and was pretty much instrumental in getting Ham Fisher drummed out of the National Cartoonist Society at Al Capp's behest, which is to me one of the contributing causes of The Strange Death of Alex Raymond. And I touch on that tangentially, but this is at the end of the interlude part. So there's this confrontation between Al Cap, who is, has his claim to Broadway in the future with, presumably Alan J. Lerner is going to make a musical comedy out of Little Abner. And Lee Falk, who is known all around the theater district as the guy who produces and directs hundreds of plays, and probably knew everybody in Sardi's by name. And Lee Falk talks to Al Cap, and of course the subject gets to Ham Fisher's suicide. And Al Cap says, he ennobled our feud. And then, not content with just saying that to Lee Falk, he turns around and says to everybody in the place, I think aware that everybody knew who he was, knew about the feud with Ham Fisher, knew about Lee Falk as a theater guy and somebody who didn't have to take second place to Al Cap in any sense, turned to the whole room at Sardi's and went, he ennobled it. It was a noble thing that he did to kill himself. And this is quoted in the New York Daily News. And then I think Lee Falk either said to the reporter who was there or related it to the reporter after the fact, my God, the man thinks this is Tristan and Isolde. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not really familiar with Tristan and Isolde. So this was one of the things looking up on the internet. Okay, what is this? And it's very difficult to find anything specific. It's the best description actually I found was in my Funk and Wagnall's dictionary from back in the 1970s, which happens more often than I care it to, where, okay, why isn't this on the internet? And it's like, well, because there's some things that they don't want on the internet, and they're just not telling you that. In medieval legend, and Richard Wagner's Tristan and Isolde, a knight sent to Ireland to bring back the princess Isolde, the beautiful, as a bride for his uncle, King Mark of Cornwall. Isolde and Tristan drink a magic love potion and ultimately die together. In some versions, Tristan is married to Isolde of the White Hands, daughter of the Duke of Brittany. And it's like, okay, now that I know that, what do I know? So thank you, Byron, for bringing this front and center. I don't know what compelled you to suddenly write this this Isolde thing, if you did write this or where you found this. But anybody who can find out why Lee Falk would say of Al Cap saying, he ennobled our feud. He ennobled it. It was a noble thing that he did. Why that would remind Lee Falk of Tristan and Isolde. I've got my own theory from the internet, but that I will save for page 669. But anybody wants to supplement this, this couldn't be more opportune. And I'm not really sure what Byron's Isolde anecdote, no Tristan in sight, has to say to me, but duly noted. And I hope I did justice to its reading of it. Okay, Matt, that'll do it for Please Hold for Dave Sim for September. And as always, I hope that you will, if you need to, stop Dave Sim at some point and go, I got some information on that. Or if you even just want to say, okay, that's enough of all this really high altitude stuff. Let me tell you a funny story about stir fry from the other night. So all my best to Paula and Bullwinkle and Janice Pearl and the assorted pets. And God willing, we'll do this again in October. I should add that it's really all I can do to do all of this talking, answering the questions. It would be beyond my ability to hit play and go, okay, let's listen to that 15 minutes and see how it went. It was like all over the place because I'm doing the best I can, but it's not all written out in front of me. So if there's parts missing here, and I really can't rule that out, where Rolly said, okay, this digital file here, it cut out after 41 seconds. Well, why did it cut out after 41 seconds? I have no idea why it cut out after 41 seconds, but there's part missing there, and in that case, just let Grandpa know. You remember this answer? You got this far in it, and then it just cut out. And I will try and run it over the goal line again. But in terms of listening to all this again, not a chance in hell, I'm afraid. Okay, I think that's it for Please Hold for September 2025.